Hello, welcome back to ByteBrain LK. Today I will show you how to create glass social icons using HTML and CSS. Please subscribe to my channel before watching the video. First, I add a div tag with the class container to hold all the social media icons. Next, I go to the CSS file to modify the styles. I started by using the universal selector to set margin 0, padding 0, box sizing border box. This removes any default spacing and ensures consistent element sizing across browsers. In the body tag, I set width and height to 100% to cover the full screen. The background color is set to white for a clean, simple appearance. Next, I go to the HTML file, copy the container class, then come back to the CSS file and paste it. I applied the following CSS properties to the container class. I set the width and height to 100%. Set the display to flex and the align items to center. Justify content to center. Set the padding to 0% and 5%. Lastly, I set the gap to 40px. Next, I go to the HTML file. Inside the container div, I add a new div with the class icons. Copy the icons class and then go to the CSS file. Add the container class and use a dot before the copied class name when pasting. I applied the following CSS properties to the icons class. Set the cursor to pointer and the position to relative. Set the width and height to 100px. The border radius to 18px and transition to 0.3s. Lastly, I add a red background color temporarily. Then I copy the classes above and paste them here like this. I add a colon with hover pseudo selector to create a hover effect for the icons class. I set the scale to 1.15 for it. Next, I delete the previously set background color from the icons class. Then I copy the classes above, paste them here like this, and go to the HTML file. Inside the icons div, I'm adding another div with the class bg. Copy the bg class name, go to the CSS file, and paste it with a dot, like this. I applied the following CSS properties to the bg class. Set the position to absolute, set the top -10px and right to -10px like this. I set the width and height 100%. Set the border radius to 18px and the transform to rotate 14 degrees. Set the transition to 0.3s ease out. Lastly, set the background color to red. Next, I copy the classes above, paste them here like this. After the bg class, I add the hover pseudo selector. Set to transform property to rotate 20 degrees to rotate the element by 20 degrees. Copy the container and icons classes from above and paste them like this. Next, go to the HTML file and add a div tag with class glass after the closing bg div tag. Inside the glass div, I add an icon. Next, I go to the box icons website, search for the social media icon. I search the Facebook icon, copy the HTML code, and paste it inside the glass div tag like this. Next, copy all the elements in the icons class and paste them 3 times below inside the container class like this. In the second icons class, change the icon to Instagram by copying the Instagram icon from the box icons website and paste it like this. In the third icons class, change the icon to Twitter by copying it from the box icons website and pasting it like this. In the last icons class, change the icon to TikTok by copying it from the box icons website and paste it. Next, I go to the CSS file, copy the container and icons classes from above, and paste them like this. I use the nth child selector to apply unique background gradients to the BG div for each social media platform. Add the number 1 in parentheses. Add the BG class after the parentheses. Set the background to a linear gradient. Set it at 160 degrees, with 2 shades of blue and a darker blue shadow like this. Copy this CSS and paste it below. Add the number 2 inside the parentheses. And change the 2 gradient colors to pink with a bright shadow like this. Duplicate this CSS again, and add the number 3 inside the parentheses. And change the 2 gradient colors to light blue, with the matching shadow like this. Duplicate this CSS again and add number 4 inside the parentheses. And change the 2 gradient colors to darker gray, with a suitable black shadow. Next, I copy the container and icons classes from above and paste them like this. Go to HTML file, copy the glass div class, and then return to the CSS file, paste it. Set the width and height to 100%. Set the display to grid and the place items to center. Set the backdrop filter to blur 15px. Set the background color to linear gradient. Set it to 120 degrees and use these colors. Set the border radius to 18px and the transition to 0.3, ease out. Copy these classes and paste them below. After the icons class, I added the hover pseudo selector. Set the transform property to rotate -10 degrees. Copy the 3 classes above and paste them below. I add an icon for the eye element after the glass class. Set the font size to 36px and the color to white. Copy the container and icons classes from the above and paste them like this. I add nth child selector to after icons class. Add the number 1 in parentheses. And add eye element. Set the text shadow 2px, 0 and 5px, set the color to blue like this. Copy this CSS and paste it below like this. Add the number 2 inside the parentheses. And change the color to pink. Duplicate this CSS again and add the number 3 inside the parentheses. And change the color to blue. Duplicate the CSS again and add the number 4 inside the parentheses. Change the color to black. Okay, we're all done now. Check the description for links to the full code and additional resources. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe for more content. If you have any questions or want to share your results, leave a comment below. Thanks for watching and see you next time.